Rise and ground, folks. Guys, I'm on the way to an existing maintenance customer. This is a heat maintenance. I do remember this customer has like an older 80% furnace. They have AC, but it's disconnected. This customer uses like window units in the summertime. She's cool with that. But I think an igniter or a capacitor, something very small, got taken care of here a couple years ago. But knock on wood, ever since then, that furnace runs like a tank. I'm almost there now. Let's go take a look. I'll see y'all when I get inside. Alright guys, here's our ancient beauty. This is an 80% carrier furnace. Look at the year. I'm not sure if you guys can see the year, but this is a 99. So this furnace is definitely approaching 30 years, but knock on wood, this customer got maintenance done years prior. I think we've been out here for at least 5 years. We replaced the run cap, we replaced the hot service igniter, and knock on wood, everything's been running smooth ever since. This 14 by 24 filter could be replaced. And guys, another interesting fact about this property here, they have a coolant condenser. They did have this hooked up before we came out here 5 years ago. They did have this running, but the customer prefers window units for some reason. So they actually got this disconnected. So there is a condenser outside and the line set is cut. But if it works for them, then we're not going to question it. The customer is comfortable and they're good with the window units, but they still want us to come out every fall to check the heat. And as to be expected, there is some dust on the burners. What I'm going to do is I'm going to check the igniter, and I should have another filter on the truck. I'm going to grab that in a second. But let me get what I need. Let me wipe down the burners and let's check this igniter and take this flame sensor out. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I looked at my notes. This igniter got replaced 4 years ago and is actually still under 90 ohms. Right now we're sitting at 70, so that's pretty good. But look at this flame sensor here. This could definitely use some cleaning. I'm gonna clean the sensor off and I'm gonna wipe down the burners. Let's get to it. I'll be right back. Alright guys, got my new filter in. Got something interesting that this carrier 395 CAV 20+ year old unit doesn't have is there is no flame roll-off switches. However, there is a block vent switch. Now, with some brands, you will typically have both. Like, for instance, on a boiler, I think that was a Crown hot water gas boiler from the other week. That had a block vent switch near the front of the boiler, and it also had a flame roll-off switch. But guys, with most newer furnaces, you're gonna have flame roll-off switches, but you're not always gonna have block vent switches. Now, in my opinion, guys, I'm not a fan of the block vent switch. I'd rather have a flame roll-off switch, because I feel like with flame roll-off switches, this is a more critical versus a higher than normal stack temperature. Now, keep in mind, both of these safeties are relative, meaning if something causes a restriction in your flue pipe, that will eventually cause the flames to shoot out your burners. But at that point, this should cause the pressure switch to open up. That's why if you have a functioning pressure switch, I don't really see a point in a block vent switch, because if something causes the inches of water column to be less than normal, then your pressure switch is not going to close. So, but guys, I think that's why these are mainly used on boilers. You're not really going to see too many block vent switches on newer furnaces. You're going to see mainly flame roll-off switches. But it's still important to understand the idea of how, back in the day, how these block vent switches work. But it is what it is, guys. But my flames are up. I'm going to check my supply temp, do the paperwork, and I'm going to get on out of here, guys. But there you have it. 20+ year old carrier furnace. Brand new filter, clean the flame sensor, igniter is still good, and dew support is clean. She's ready for winter, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.